everybody. It's Johnny Mo. How are you? Actually, when we're recording this, it is on New Year's Eve of 2019, and this is my last podcast of the year, and we're going out with a bang. I have an awesome person. I saw him post something in a group, and I said, we got to be friends. Nick McLean. I said it right?
That's right, McLean.
All right, McLean.
Like Die Hard, John McLean.
John McLean. Awesome. I love it. And you are out in Washington.
That's right.
Hakawachi or something like that?
Yeah, Wenatchee, Washington, North Central Washington.
North Central Washington. And tell us a little bit about you. Don't tell us what prompted me to reach out and start our dialogue a couple weeks back, but just tell us a little bit about you, your brokerage setup, and what you do.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry since 2008. I opened my real estate brokerage, independent brokerage firm, we call them firms in Washington State, in 2012. My previous life, I was an airline pilot. So I was a commercial airline pilot. I flew international freight. So when I was 25, 26, 27, I flew freight internationally on a Boeing 747. And I went through all of that training and got into real estate when that airline went under. They actually, before the market crashed, they went under because gas prices were crazy. I don't know if you remember that time, but it was going insane. It was hard to run an airline. So I got into real estate, opened my independent brokerage in 2012 as a team, under the team model. So I didn't go to a franchise. I looked at all the franchises. I didn't go with one. I just wanted to create my own mission statement, core values right out of the gate, belief systems, vision, all of that. Launched that in Wenatchee, Washington, a new marketplace. Like, I don't know if you want to go there, but nobody knew me in Wenatchee in 2012. Nobody. I wasn't even an agent in the MLS. I joined the MLS the day my doors opened. Wow. I recruited a couple agents. So I had a couple buyer's agents. I hired an assistant in the first month, and we sold 101 homes that year.
Wow.
Right, and that was 2012. And ever since then, it's just been incremental growth.
And 2012 was right on the cusp of funkiness of the flat, right? It wasn't until after that it started to increase. And the thing, and hats off to you, I love the entrepreneurial story. The thing that made me reach out to you was I saw a post that you guys had did 120 million in production, which if you're in San Diego or LA or Naples, Florida, that might not be that big of a deal, right? I mean, you got $1 million houses around the corner. But when you have a population of about 33,000 people, that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And you're in the middle of Washington, selling 120 million in production in a town nobody knew you a few years ago. Tell us, man, what's the secret? What's the secret model or the secret potion that you have, or is there one?
Well, I believe there is one. I think there is one. Now, we do about 400. People are going to wonder, what's your price point? Because people ask the wrong questions. It's like if you want to run a marathon, they're going to ask you what shoes you wear, what heart rate monitor, what vitamins, right? They don't ask you, first things first, you need to, get out the door and start working out, go for a run, go for a jog. But, so we're talking about the end. The beginning might be more important, but here's the secret sauce. My airline pilot background has allowed me to build systems, checklists, living, breathing pieces of paper that when used, come alive, that bring people together. And we talked about that off air, but I want to get more into that. A checklist isn't a to-do list. It's a living, breathing thing that when used will bring people together. And I've done that from day one. And I've had a foundation of training my agents, right? So right now we do about 120 million, 400 different homes. And I don't work with a builder. I don't have subdivisions. I didn't sell a condoplex, right? Because there's other things you learn about teams doing 400, 500, 1,000 homes, right? They got the hedge fund, they got the Fannie Mae account, right? There's more to the story. These are all resale, hyper-local, mass marketing conversions, right? Now, there are referrals out of it, but I mean, we're doing this from scratch almost every time, right? Because there's a process. And so really how we've done it, we invest in our people, in training, right? In systems. And then our onboarding, our ab initio program. So ab initio means from the beginning. Our onboarding is from the beginning program into production. So I look at taking someone from the beginning. I don't care what your experience level is. How do I get that person from the beginning of our company onboarded, indoctrinated, culturalized, and producing in less time, right? So it's like this onboarding program is the key, because you hire an agent, right? And you don't have a plan for them, they lose it and they check out and they're gone, right? And then you're wondering, where you at? Come on, Johnny, come into the office. We need to get on the phones. We need a prospect, right? It's kind of top down. You need to have a plan from day one that takes them there. So that ab initio from the beginning program is dynamite, right? And then you can layer in more and more people into that culture and that environment, and then they start attracting other people. So we went from 15 agents about a year ago to 30 agents going into 2020. So I'm super excited about next year, because we have more people and we're not bursting. It's like a pressure test of my systems. I'm seeing how many people collectively I can add into the system that increases the growth and potential of our company and gives back. So as I add more people actually get better, right? Because then what happens when you start a team and you start growing that team, they get scared. You bring someone on, they're scared. Well, do we have enough leads? How are you going to handle it? What's going to happen? What are they doing? But when you have a culture where you bring people in and it gets better, then the team's like, hey, go out and get more people like them that I can use in our systems that bump into each other. Because remember that I want people bumping in and working with each other, collaboration, right? I want that bombardment of interaction within the team. And so I'm just obsessive over that. Does that make sense? And I may have gone off the rails, so maybe you asked me a question.
Listen, I love going off the rails, brother, so it's all good.
Yeah. So as you grow, you need to get people to collide in a collaborative way. And
I love that.
Yeah. And I do that through checklists. Okay. I do that through training, so that they can get to know each other, they can love each other, they can grow together, they can celebrate wins together, they can celebrate achievements together. And in the core values is about client experience and meeting expectations and all these things, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So there's the basics, and then that's how we talked about where the leads are coming from, and they're offline, they're online, they're sphere, they're networking, they're everything, right? And so as a team leader, I'm marketing to get the business in, and then I'm making sure my team prepared, right, to when that lead comes in or from any source, they execute, right? They put them into the process. And so we're constantly talking process, not results. Like, I didn't know I sold 120 million until like a couple weeks ago.
Well, all the big entrepreneurial people, they say just trust the process, right?
Yeah.
Trust the process. And you're right. And the checklist is so important. And being a pilot, I mean, you go through a checklist every time, right? Before you go off in flight.
Oh, every time. In fact, you compete at a different level. So like we're all here to fit in. We want to fit in, right? And so if you have a team of people that aren't on time or don't follow process, you bring on someone new, they want to fit in. So how are they going to act? By not showing up on time and not following a process, right? So if you can have people want to fit in. So when I bring someone on the ab initio from the beginning program, onboarding program, they want to fit in. So they're going to follow the process. They're going to ask about the process. And from day one. So, pilots, this is a principle. Pilots compete on different things. So they want to fit in, and then they want to increase their status within the group, the hierarchy of the group, right? Well, the people that are looked up to the most are the ones with the most discipline, the ones that follow the process no matter what.
Discipline. I have a set of principles that I created, and it's what I follow. You're familiar with Michael Gerber, the E-Myth?
Yes, I love that book. Yes, absolutely.
Business is broken down into the entrepreneurial, manager, and technician level. So I created a set of principles because most agents aren't executing at their management level. And these set of principles are called UPAD. The management level is responsible for understanding and planning. The technician level is responsible for action and discipline. That creates accountability back to the management level. So I love to hear the word discipline. And to me, discipline is one of the most important traits of success. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. See, we shoot at the wrong target sometimes because we're going top down. So to grow from, at 100 deals a year, 200 deals a year, yeah, I was a different leader. I was make your calls, your numbers, KPI, more prospecting, more follow-up. So I would have people compete at that level, right? Well,
logical.
It makes sense. Okay. But let's switch it a little bit. Okay. Let's have people compete at who's the most disciplined, who follows the process no matter what, right? Who's does that make sense? Who focuses on leading measures, not lagging measures. So we acknowledge people on the result, right? They're going to chase the result and they're going to discourage. Acknowledge people on the process that will produce the result you're looking for. Acknowledge that, celebrate that, train on that, right?
Yeah. I didn't even expect this to go this way, and it's music to my ears because you know what? The industry since Jesus bought his house, they've been doing things the same way, and with a failure rate of 80 to 87%. Somebody at some point is got to say things need to change, and I love how you're doing it your way. You're doing it through, with your background and getting into that cultural process, which culture is key, getting into that cultural process and people are buying in, they're subscribing. They want to belong.
Yeah. And it's interesting. Now, do I abandon goals? Do I abandon sales goals and scoreboards like that? No, absolutely not.
No, you can't.
Do I acknowledge them? Yes, I do. But I don't run sales contests based on results. I run sales contests based on, behavior that I'm looking for, on process that I want people to take hold of and make it their own and run with it, right? You ever have a great idea and you come into the team meeting, you're like, yeah, let's go, let's do this. And they don't do it. They just don't do it, right? They didn't own it. It's not theirs. Sometimes they even sabotage it. They want to show you that it wasn't that great of an idea by showing you it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Not doing it right. So, and they're scared of failure. And right. We have fear-based sometimes, and we're scared of failure. And the result's unpredictable. So they're thinking, wow, I could do all of the right things and it may not work out. And so I'm going to be a failure, even though I did the right things. Think about that. Right. Because a good decision isn't based on the result. A good decision is based on whether or not it was a good decision. Now there's a probability it won't work out, right?
Always.
Right. Like if you're playing blackjack and you make the right decision on whether or not to double down or bet, you still might not win. Well, are you going to get mad at that person for making that bet? No, make that bet again. Right. So think about the process and think about that reward system, the incentive systems. Silicon Valley, they talk about it's all about incentives. Think about the incentive systems on the behavior you're looking for and then reward that, not the results. And it's just, this is major stuff, right?
Yeah, so, I love it.
And you go to that and you train on that. And I showed you this earlier on my desk right now, just as this is my airline quick reference handbook, because I was looking at checklists, and the checklists are cool because they're like, they get people involved in the process that's predictable, and it gets them working together. And so I was just that's just something I go back to, and I have something built out for every part of the process. Now, checklists shouldn't be complicated. You need to always simplify them. It's like a poem, right? Like every word matters in a system. Like the call out matters, right? The verbiage that you have matters. The language matters. And then when your team recognizes that language matters, right? They watch what they say and they think about what they say, which
they become aware.
where, and they think about their actions. And so these thoughts turns to words, and words make actions, right? And then you can then layer in some mantras, what we're about, what we stand for, mantras, right? And mottos, right? Like, you ask anyone on my team how the market's doing, we're selling homes. Like, all 30 people. If not, I need to talk to them.
Well, if you take anything that's a system, let's take the military. The military is a system that's refined to a system that's refined to a system, right? So you take your general enlisted people, and then they get their specialty, and then they go into, say, special forces or Delta or something else like that. If you're not all executing, and the same is with sports, professional sports, you're not going to win a Super Bowl if everybody's on different pages, right? You got to have that desire. You got to have that discipline. You all have to be on the same page. That is great programming. It's great programming.
It is. And then you allow them to experiment. So they don't always fit in the box. There's times in which you can go outside the box, right? And explore and be creative and have ideas and cultivate those things, right? And you want to allow that and nurture that, because you just don't want to be always in the box. I'll give you an example, an analogy here. Japan Airlines, right? One of the greatest airlines in the world. And the Japanese are very by the book, right? The training on a 747 for someone in Japan Airlines is over a year. It may be a year and a half. In the United States, 3 months, right? Because they've thought of every single scenario, and they have a checklist for every single thing. Okay, that's awesome. I love it. However, what happens when something arrives that doesn't have a checklist? They don't know what to do.
They can't process it.
Well, this is in the 90s. They've really upped their game, okay? But there were some crashes because there was they couldn't think beyond the checklist. So that's where you need to get into resource management. And yes, there's a checklist for everything, but you also have the autonomy, and you need to be able to think on your own, problem solve. Not everything's going to have a checklist. And I just need you to be resourceful and know where to find answers and how to recruit people to help you, right? Does that make sense? And that falls under resource management, crew resource management. See, when I say CRM to a real estate agent, they say client, Boomtown or top producer or whatever. That's where I put my leads, right? That's where I put my client. CRM to me is crew resource management, right? Who are all the people out there in the world that can help you where you're at now? Escrow, title, lenders, planning department, buildings. Who can you recruit on our team and outside our team? How resourceful can you be? And knowing how resourceful knowing all your resources prior to getting into a situation or when you're in a situation is called situational awareness. Do you know where you're at in space and time? On a phone call that comes in, on a lead that registers on the website, on a referral that comes in, on a closing, on a transaction, on pending, are you situationally aware of where you're at in the context of your business at the time that you need to be taking action?
I absolutely love it, because I think most people are asleep at the wheel.
They are. Well, and they don't, sometimes they're lost in space. They don't know, right? And then get bombarded with external environmental things like family, right? Crisis, other things, the whirlwind. And I want them to narrow that focus but have the freedom.
I think a lot of people, they're programmed, right, to be an employee, because that's what the program wants. That's what the system wants. They want you working, paying your taxes Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, go to work, do your job. The problem with that is, since we're little kids, somebody else has set your tasks for you. What is the task? Okay, I come into work, I punch my clock, I do my tasks, I punch out, I get a check at the end of the week, right? Now you take that same person when you put them into a place where they need to create their own tasks. And they don't even know where to begin most of the time. So the fact that you have the checklist to say, okay, today it's 8:30 in the morning, where do I start? You just know what to do. I think that is beautiful.
Yeah, and so, well, thank you. Now, there's something to that. Yeah, they've been trained their whole life to follow the leader, to be a leader, or to follow, show up at school on time. Pledge of allegiance, sit down, check in, attendance roll, all these things, right?
Yeah.
And then they get into real estate, and it's like, come work for me. It's the ultimate freedom. Make your own day, call your own shots, do all these things, right? And it's like, it's a little overwhelmed, right? It's like, whoa.
Oh yeah. And everybody's better than the next.
Yeah, it's tough. So, running a team or a brokerage, you really owe it to your people to have structure, but don't make it so structured that they can't be themselves.
But you can take somebody, plug them in, put them through the program, and they're ready to go.
And they know where they're at, and the other people know where they're at or what they're asking for. So I'll give you an example. Like, I don't know if you can see this, but this is, I don't know, can you see that? It's a knowledge checklist. After, 8 years and over 100 agents probably onboarding, it's like, I wanted a complete checklist that they can go to when they want to grow and learn. That's one of our core values. We embrace, we pursue growth and learning. So it's a checklist at which I put together that encompasses everything I could think of that would make it the ultimate knowledgeable master level agent. From the basics to the advanced, from a script to a high level contract, from how to show a property to human behavior psychology, almost, like all levels of mastery.
It's all psychology.
Because if you have an agent come in wherever they're at, 1 year in the industry, 20 years in the industry, there's still this thought of like, what should I be doing now? And if I don't know what I should be doing, I should be sharpening the axe and getting better. Then you go to this checklist and see where I can go, right? And so I'll have people on my team say, my goal this week, I'm committed to learning 2 things on the knowledge checklist. So I'm improving the collective genius of my group by improving the intellect and the knowledge base of my team. So as my team gets more knowledgeable, you're gonna sell more homes, right?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? I know it. I know the more knowledgeable my team is. Now, I'm not going to go top down on them, and just go, this is how you do it. I'm going to say, this is what you need to learn. Go out and learn it. Right? So now.
So this is the old saying, iron sharpens iron, right? Or you are the sum of the 5 people you're around most. So you might as well make those people awesome. And if you guys are all collaborating and, and together, you're all working towards that same. Now, somebody has to want to do that. You can't force this on somebody, right? Let's just I'm sure you have had to fire people. How do you identify, or not fire them, but let them go, return their license, whatever? How do you identify the person that's just slipping, maybe not fitting in?
Yeah, so they're not showing up. Is number one. They're not showing up. So if they're not showing up to the meetings, we run. So people probably want to know our rhythm. We run meetings or trainings Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I've done 1 day a week. I've done daily huddles. I've done 5 days a week. I've done 3 days a week. I've done 2 days. 4 seems to be a good mix. And people that aren't showing up and they're not communicating what they're doing, that's when we talk to them. That's when I'm calling them. I'm talking to them. Hey, what's going on? Where you're at? A lot of times it's personal issues. Personal will kill productivity more than anything.
100%.
You got to have some grace there. And that's usually how I identify it. Now, if they can, what I'll do is someone that's slipping, I'll ask them to commit to what they already know they should be doing. So you have to let them discover what they should be doing, and they'll tell you what they should be doing. And then you get them to recommit. And if they won't recommit, then that's an exit. If they commit, I give them a deadline that we review. Like, how will I know you kept your commitment? Based on a result, right?
So accountability, man.
Yeah, accountability. And then we just revisit that in, it's 30 days. It's case by case, right?
We have a expandable banner that we bring to, or we did with more GCI, and one of them said accountability plus discipline equals success.
There you go.
And so you got to have that accountability, and good for you seeing them slip and stepping in. I think I've seen this across the industry where they just like stack them in. You ever been to Japan and get on the subway, man? They're pushing you in.
Yeah.
It's like that. Let's get more in the training room, right? Because we know they're going to sell 3 houses this year, and it's a numbers game. but you are proof positive that you guys can have mammoth numbers just by doing the right thing.
Yeah, and you can do it in any marketplace. I want to throw that out to you. We're 33,000 people.
We have 33,000 people. It's a fair sized town.
And so if you're in a bigger marketplace than I am, that's awesome. And you can chunk it up into neighborhoods, subdivisions. There's resorts that have 33,000 people in it in some cities, right? Like 3 golf courses, massive master plan resorts. Like that's a little envious. Now you might be thinking, well, you're in a big fish in a small pond. It's just, it's up here, right? You can do it. We didn't reinvent the wheel. We just invest in the people, the training from the beginning, no matter where you're at. New agents and old agents, or new agents, experienced agents make the same amount of mistakes, just for different reasons.
Sure.
Right? It's almost like what's the difference between a new agent class and an experienced agents class? The title. It's just the title, right? So,
there's only so much we can really actually do.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's not about always adding layers onto people. It's about, taking layers off when you run a real estate team. You really owe it to them to take layers off of them. Now, here's what happens is we think, should they do that? Yes, they're adults, they're professionals, they're entrepreneurs. They should be able to do this on their own. But at the same time, if you want them to be efficient, productive, you do need to take layers off of them. Don't do it for them. It's like, I got a 2-year-old daughter, and, if she falls down, there's times I need to pick her up and there's times she needs to pick herself up. Right. And so you got to watch those things as a leader. But I don't want to go way existential. So if you want me to go into some tactical nuts and bolts, I'm all for it.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes left. So let's jump into, we were talking offline. I created the lead generation quadrant, saying that business comes from some form of phone call, some form of network, and some form of offline, or some form of traditional stuff. And you shared some of the things that you do. We can progress through this. So, we got like 3 or 4 minutes. Let's progress through it. If you're newer, you should be focusing on, or these couple of things. And as you get more business, then you can move, or more business equals more revenue. You can start to move into other things, right? Like I know you mentioned radio and TV and stuff like that. You don't start out with that, right? That's something when you get the revenue stream going, you can end up at. So let's just answer it in 3 ways. What's something somebody new should be doing? Somebody intermediate that's got a little bit of revenue coming in, then somebody that's a high producer.
Yeah. So a new agent, you're brand new in the industry. If there's a badass team in your area, you might think about interviewing with them, interview multiple places. But interview with the team and look at the training and look at their systems and learn from a mentor. That's great, right? That's huge. And you're going to give up split, but if you ever build a team, that's the same reason they're going to join you. People join because they want to learn from me, right? And they want to learn from the collective whole. So, take advantage of that. If you're doing it on your own, I did it this way: low cost, no cost, guerrilla direct response marketing. Expires, withdrawals, houses wanted on Craigslist. I was a Craigslist monster, man. I was all over it all the time. I wrote letters like you wouldn't believe it. I was a direct response letter writer, and that knowledge I built through those years of writing letters.
Sure.
And I didn't do mass postcards. See, people want to do the easy route. Do what other people aren't willing to do. If you're
100%.
And if you can maintain that through your whole career, I'm still willing to do things people aren't willing to do. Our toilet, this is bad, but our toilet just backed up in our office. I got 40 people in my organization. I'm still willing to go back there. Like I'm not above anything right now, right?
Yeah.
You gotta stay humble and hungry, right? And those things. So
stay humble and hungry.
Yep. Now intermediate, if you want to build a team, you want to leverage. You got a good listing. You got good revenue coming in and you're ready to grow, you're ready to expand, you're going to need to hire a buyer's agent, right? Because buyer's agents, showing buyers homes is very time consuming. You got to show on weekends and evenings, and you want to have a life, right?
Loss of control, in my opinion.
Yeah, but be careful, be very, very careful. Just hiring any old person that's willing to take leads from you. You're just a referral source. You can't be just a lead referral source. Like if your relationship's based on I'll give you a lead and you give me back a split, that's how it's going to end too. The way you bring it, the reason they come on is the reason they're going to leave you.
Mm-hmm.
So when that's not working out, they're going to leave you, right? So bring them on for different reasons. So if you're going to bring someone on, an ab initio and onboarding dynamite process.
I got to say one thing, man. You held that paper, and the thing that flashed into my head was last year we did a brokerage thing, webinar. There was 3 of us hosting it, and the head person, she's got an MBA. I think she's got PhD. She's a professor, Regina Brown. I love her. She's wonderful. And she was just like, how many people in here have a policy and procedures manual? Couple hands. Right? You got to have that checklist, that policy, that procedure. What happens when? It's right here, right?
Yeah, just to let everyone know, it's a process. Like, you don't have to have all of it done to launch, ready to launch. You just got to know that you need to start building on. This checklist is years and years and years of changes, right? There's revisions. The Boeing 747 checklist, there's revisions. There's revisions all the time. And as soon as you have a revision, you know what you got to do? You got to train on it.
Sure.
Right, you got to train on it. So that's the intermediate. The people that are at the higher level that are crushing it, or growing, it's just, tracking is really important. Knowing where your income's coming from, and then feed the stallions, starve the ponies, and then bringing human beings on in an environment, just working that environment, working the experience, working that culture, working your systems, and then
being a manager,
and working, working on yourself. The difference between that person that starts a team and the person that grows it to a 400, 1,000, they've worked more on themselves than anyone else.
You have to.
Mentally.
There's an evolution going on within us, and I hope everybody at some point takes a spiritual journey to learn all about themselves and their existence in this world, because it has opened my mind, and I operate completely different now. Every day, it's not about how much money I can make. I don't even look at that. I know my bills are paid. I know I got a couple bucks in the bank, right? It's all about how can I be a better person? How can I be a better human? How can I be a nicer human? How can I be more impactful? How can I be more aware? How can I have more empathy, right? All these things I'm continually improving. And as a result, the things around me increase too, right? The opportunities increase because there's this weird energy out there that brings those people all together, right? And when they say you're the sum of the 5 people you're around most, continue to improve, and you're going to start to attract around those people too.
You will, because you want to fit in, and you want to belong.
You want to belong, and that's basic Maslow's hierarchy, right? I think it's number 3 on the list is sense of belonging.
Is it? Yeah, that's right. So as you increase the standards within your organization, the standards equals revenue and profit. So, that medium to high level, continually increasing the standards, and then when people meet it, they want to fit in. And as you bring people in, they're going to want to fit in. And that's how you increase the revenues. But you got to have people, you got to bring people in, you got to recruit. That's been a game changer for us, is recruiting people in. And not in a time of need, always.
Recruiting's a big thing, and I know the brokers that follow me are going to really enjoy hearing this. We're at our time. We're a little bit over, which is okay. But anyways, give us a little bit, because you do some coaching and stuff like that. What is your coaching around? Is it around agents? Is it around brokers? Do you help with what do you do?
Yeah, so primarily we do onboarding ab initio training. So your ability to bring someone on, recruit, hire, and get them into productivity in 90 days or less, right? And from there, you can layer on from there. But I think that's the biggest impact we have on teams, is that ability to do that. And we do that through something called Millionaire Team Mastery. And you can find us at McLeanCoaching.com. I do some other things, but that's primarily the one that we focus on. We focus on building teams through the ab initio program, because it seems like people don't really have that system dialed in or have it in writing, and we can step in and make the biggest impact on people in that area.
Awesome. Love to hear about it. I'm going to share this with a few people I know that are struggling right now. And I really do think that, in order to recruit, you need to have someplace for them to recruit to, with culture and with that discipline and those systems. Because if there's any new agents out there listening right now, man, be around successful people and you'll be successful. It's that simple, right? So I know some people get caught up. You had mentioned it. I'm glad you said it. Oh, if there's a good team, join the team. Yeah, you're going to get paid less percentage wise, but you're going to make more because you're going to have more opportunities and you're going to learn. And what's that education worth? I really believe that in this industry, we have to look at it like college diplomas. First couple of years, you're getting your associates. Next couple of years, you're going to get your bachelor's, and then you're going to get your master's and so on and so forth, all the way up to you, me, getting our PhDs and all this other crazy stuff because we've been doing it long enough, right? And we're actually on the front line building things. So I love this, man. Our time went by so fast. We're going to have to do another one. I really enjoyed talking with you.
Appreciate it, man.
Everybody, I just want to tell you once again, a town of 33,000 people, Hakachachi, Washington. Actually, you never heard of it because I never heard of it unless you've been there. And they did 120 million with 18 agents, right at the time, roughly throughout the year.
On average, yeah.
Yeah, and man, I can't wait to see what you guys pull off next year with the bigger crew. So anybody can do this.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to put your mind to it, and you have to. Let me just ask you, Nick. Do you put people first? Are your people before you, in a way?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
that's leadership quality. Leaders eat last, right? And you're putting these people forward, helping them. I mean, I tell you what, at 120 million, I know people are eating, and I know they're eating steak or whatever they want. They're eating well. So if you plug into a system, it's awesome. So McLean Coaching, McLean, correct?
Yes, that's right.
McLeancoaching.com.
That's right. That's right.
Awesome. Well, dude, I thank you for your time. I can't wait to have a second round with you at some point in the future if you're open to it.
I'm always open for it. Yeah, I'm just here for people too. They can find me on Facebook, Instagram, follow me. I mean, I'm just here to help people grow their business. I mean,
what's your Instagram handle?
Nick McLean RE.
Okay.
Nick McLean RE.
I'll find you and I'll tag you.
Cool. Let's do it.
Awesome, everybody. Hey, Nick, thanks for being here. Everybody have a fantastic 2020. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. I know most of you probably won't hear this until that's already happened, but don't do it any day of the week. Y'all be safe. Live well. I'm Johnny Mo. I'm out. Peace.